Hello, my name is John Rose, and in this video I'd like to take a closer look at food combining. Now, many of us know about food combining thanks to the Diamonds book, Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond. Remember, chapter 2 in that book was about natural hygiene, and of course this goes back to Herbert Shelton, came up with these food combining rules. Now, many people criticize or poo-poo these rules, partly because of his explanation about what he thought the physiology was behind it, even though he openly admitted he didn't know the physiology because we didn't have the science back then. And that's important to understand because biology still is not an exact science, and there are a lot of theories out there on food combining, and the only one that really makes sense to me has to do with the strata digestion of food and eating food based on its water content in bowel transit time. In fact, I've done a video on bowel transit time that relates to this video. I also did a video on how often should we eat that will relate to this video, and also the best transition to a raw food diet relates to this video. And that's because food combining is really only for people in a transition to a raw food diet. In other words, once we make it to a raw vegan diet, the rules really don't apply that much anymore because we already understand how to eat. We know that the simpler the meal, the better we're going to feel. We know that it's best to eat mono meal fruit meals initially, or mono meal fruits, and then have a salad with a mono meal fruit followed by a salad. And we can mix the fruit in with the salad whenever the vegetables in the salad are leafy greens. And we have other things that will also work, like celery and tomatoes and avocado. So if those are the base to our salads, then we can mix fruit in with the salad, and that's proper food combining. But there's an experiment every one of you guys can do to understand how digestion really works. And that is to eat a sequence of foods, a variety of foods in a sequence, one at a time in its completion. And you could try eating 3 different foods like watermelon, and a salad, and then some nuts, or you could do something really complex like papaya and a tossed salad, and some corn, and then some steamed vegetables and a baked potato, and then some rice and lentils. And if you eat each one of those meals or foods separately, what you'll notice is they'll go through the system in layers. And if you examine what comes out of you, you'll see the papaya. You'll see the layers of the food as it goes through our food tube. So once again, food combining is mainly for people in a transition. And the best transition to a raw food diet is a solid food vacation. You can go down below in the description box and go to the first of my 3-step process. That's why this relates to my video on the best transition to a raw food diet. And that is to give the body a vacation. There's an old saying, you don't put new wine in an old container. The biggest problem many people have when they improve their dietary choices is their body is impaired and they cannot digest the food. So by giving the body what it wants more than anything, a solid food vacation, we let the body have a chance to heal itself. Because as long as our body is not functioning properly, food combining won't even work. It'll make it better. But remember, the simpler the meal, the better you'll feel. And everyone's going to be unique, and we're all damaged in our own little way. So what we need to do is pay attention to what goes in and what comes out. That's why the solid food vacation is the best transition. Because then, after we do that and we know our food tube's completely empty, then we can really look at how food goes through the food tube. Everybody I coach, that's what they tell me afterwards. They finally feel in tune to their body. They finally understand what's going in and what's coming out. The average person has no idea that what's coming out is what might have went in several days prior to when they ate it. So once again, I have to emphasize, food combining is mainly for a transition, and the best transition is simply to give the body a vacation. And then once you go through this solid food vacation, then you want to pay attention once again to the bowel transit time of our food. And I like to sort of rate my food relative to rabbits and turtles based on how much water it has. You put the water-rich foods in first, followed by the foods that have the least amount of water. You don't put a turtle in before a rabbit, otherwise you have a traffic jam. If you put the rabbits in first, they're already long gone, and then the next ones will come, the next, and the next, and the next. And what you'll notice if you eat this way, then you'll see that everything come out in layers. Now that's the ideal way to food combine. Now there are certain combinations we know that are disastrous. The protein in the starch is horrible, and yet just about every meal we eat in America is a protein in a starch. Meat, potatoes, chicken, and rice. All of our sandwiches got some sort of dead flesh food or cheese with starch. So if you're going to eat those foods, eat the protein-rich foods first so you can at least produce some hydrochloric acid and digest that protein, and then eat the starch afterwards. But when it comes right down to it, if we apply food combining to a lot of people, what we're really doing is helping them make better bad choices. Stop making the bad choices, and you don't have to worry about food combining. It's really simple when you embrace a raw vegan diet and eat mostly mono meals and stick to leafy greens. Interestingly, I did a video the other day on salads, and I glanced at Dr. Walker's book, and I looked at one of his salads right off the bat, and I was looking at how he suggested to prepare all the different things you're going to put in the salad. And when he explained how to prepare cauliflower, I'm thinking to myself, oh, wait a second, we can't eat cauliflower raw, we can't eat broccoli raw, we can't digest the cellulose in those foods. But what he made me understand by looking at this recipe he made, he had a lot of things. They had 2 tablespoons of this and 2 tablespoons of this, and ultimately there was, what, 5 things that had 2 tablespoons, and there might have been close to 2 pounds of fruit that was added to that. So that's a fairly good sized salad. And if you're making that big of a salad and you're only putting in 2 tablespoons of cauliflower all mashed up and it's all blended together, you could probably get away with it. But it also got me thinking along another lines, because if you're going to eat fruit before a salad, I've always known I wouldn't want to eat a banana meal before a salad, because bananas aren't water rich. You want to eat the water rich foods first. Bananas have maybe 3.6 cups of water per 1,000 calories. The standard American diet, in contrast, only has 1.4 cups of water per 1,000 calories. And they tell us we need 4 cups of water per 1,000 calories, 60% of which is needed for the colon to make sure we're not constipated. This is why they tell us to drink these 8 glasses of water a day. But when you look at our ideal diet of raw vegan plant foods, you're getting 10, 12 cups of water per 1,000 calories in most of those foods. But some foods don't have much water. Bananas, avocados, olives, those type of foods don't have much water. So as a result, I would never eat a banana meal before a salad. I'd always eat a water-rich meal, whether it's mangoes or cherries or persimmons or grapefruit, something like that. But what I did the other day, based on looking at Walker's salad recipe, is I did something I'd never done before, and I really liked it. I took 1 banana and I sliced it up in thin slices like he suggested. Of course, when he suggested how to make this salad, he said layer everything, put the carrots down and layer the bananas, all in these layers and stuff. So I sort of just sliced that into my salad, and I was really very pleasantly pleased at that small addition to my diet. Here it's been 26 years and I never thought about slicing thin slices of a banana into a salad. It was a very interesting texture to add. And remember, as long as we're sticking to the leafy greens, like romaine lettuce and green leaf lettuce and red leaf lettuce and even kale and chard, things like that, dandelions, we can go ahead and mix fruits in with the salad. And why do we need to do that? Because most of us, when we transition to a raw food diet, don't just, that's beginning to bug me. When we transition, a lot of us simply can't handle the volume of food we need. A lot of people say, I'm always hungry on the raw food diet. If you are hungry a couple hours after you ate, you simply didn't eat enough. And that takes a while for the average person, because this is one of the hardest things for most people to do, to go from 5 to 10 grams of fiber to 50 or 60 or more grams of fiber a day. It's a shock to the system. So most people do struggle transitioning to a raw food diet. So as I mentioned, the best transition, solid food vacation. And then when you come off that solid food vacation, because you're going to have a hard time getting the volume of food you need to eat, continue to drink vegetable juices so you can keep the salads down to a smaller size, but eventually work your way up, eat bigger fruit meals and eat bigger salads. But in the meantime, make sure you use the vegetable juices to supplement your diet, because the reason why so many people don't do well on this diet is they simply don't consume enough food. And that's hard to do in the beginning. But remember the simple adage, the simpler the meal, the better you feel. And when you do that, you're in for a treat.